us, and we're going to go into a small word of prayer and give God praise and thanks for this beautiful sunny day here in California. It is just gorgeous weather out there right now at the present. Gracious Father, we thank you. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my children. Thank you for my grandchildren. Thank you for a roof over our head, a place to sleep, food to eat. We give you the praise and the honor for all that you have done and all that you are going to do in our lives. We thank you again. Amen. Amen. We're running, we'll say a little bit late because we said we're going to start at 11:30. Some things we did today, and I'm so gracious for you that are listening and joining in with us. We have been teaching on self-esteem and the impact of self-esteem and low self-esteem. And first thing you want to identify is you need to know what self-esteem is before you say it's low self-esteem. And it has been quite an interesting study. I thought I knew what self-esteem was, and I did know a little bit about it, but as I'm reading this information, I'm really getting into the depths of where it's coming from. And what I hope for out of this is we understand where our true identity come from. So you won't ever have to ask anyone, what is it that I should be doing? People are hung up with this and they make too big of a deal out of it. And it's really not that big of a deal. And I'm saying that in all earnest because I thought it was when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I got to find my purpose. I got to know why God put me here. Yeah, it's real simple. Because we have been engaged in the religious talk and services all our lives that we really missed why he put you here. And it's summed up in one simple word or phrase: manage the earth. That's why you're here.
That's why you're here. Your purpose.
Your purpose.
That's right.
Is to now that's going to look different on an individual level, but your whole soul purpose is to manage the earth. And I'm hearing in my thought when I say that, what then have I been given to manage the earth? Dominion. Dominion. Power and authority. Yes, sir. You are a manager. And all our lives, we let people tell us what to do. And the people that are trying to tell us what to do are not too happy with themselves. And I always say it's easy to tell other people what they should be doing or what we think they are, but we seem to not do very well when it comes to our own selves. And I think God wanted to be just the opposite. He wants you to know what to do so it shows others that confidence that you have in him and that confidence that you know about life and about what he wants you to do. Again, it's tough to hear that you wouldn't put here to play baseball. You wouldn't put here to cook, to sing, to worship. I know all of that stuff is good and important, and I'm not saying that you don't do these things, but that's not why you were placed on this earth. It was very simple. He did not allow it to rain because there was no man to manage it. Excuse me. Excuse me. There was no man to manage the earth. So that's what he put us here to do. So how does that affect our low self-esteem? The moment you start understanding and figuring out what it is your dominion covers, first thing you have to do, I can understand now, and I say this with all simplicity. I understand why Christ said repent.
Yes.
It makes all the sense in the world to me now. Because the first thing you have to do before you even approach him is just the thought of, I'm going to change the way I've been thinking. That's it. Because you're not going to get it coming to him with that same mindset that you've already had. You have to change the way you've been thinking, because the people you have surrounded yourself with, including your family and the folks you grew up with, you all of us have been impacted by what they think of us, how they feel about us. I'm going to stop right now and put the plug in for our little group that we have, our empowerment group. And the reason why I'm doing that is because mostly men have signed up for this group. And it shocked the lady that ran the group. Beautiful. That, because they were looking for a lot of women to be a part of this empowerment group. And we were going over this Wednesday night. And I was sharing with the young man how we allow our identity to be shaped by people around us. And the therapist or the psychiatrist asked a question. And she asked him one simple question. And it didn't confuse me at first, but it threw me off guard. And then all of a sudden I got what she was asking him. The question she asked him was, how do you like your coffee? Let me give the number out for this group for you that are in Fairfield or in this area that may want to join. Solano County, yes. It's 707-820-7288. That's our hotline. If you want to become a part of that group, we don't meet every Wednesday night, but they can tell you when you call that number.
Men and women.
Men and women. Come get that. It's called peer support is what we're doing. Yes, but when she asked him that question, how do you like your coffee? In other words, what she was asking him, do you really know you? If somebody's going to fix you some coffee, if you fix your own self some coffee and you fixed it to your liking, do you know how you like your coffee? I don't drink coffee. Do you know how you like your cocoa? It wasn't about coffee or cocoa. What she was asking him, do you know you? Do you know what you like? See, if you know what you like, you won't let others give you what you don't like. You know you don't like your hot chocolate without some marshmallows in it. Or you know you do like your hot chocolate with marshmallows in it. How do you like yours? How do you like, what do you want? And she was trying to share with him, you hanging around people that won't give you what you want. You're letting them give you something you don't want and you don't want, and you're making excuses to keep those people in your life. Because we won't let them go. And I could tell in his conversation that he had a little bit more growing to do, because I was sharing with him, I am so serious about what I want in my coffee, or how I like my coffee, how I like my life, how I like to be treated, that I don't let any and everybody treat me in any kind of way. You just don't get that opportunity. And I was telling him, I'm not going to punch you and hit you. I'm going to leave you be. I'm going to leave you alone, because there's no need for us getting on each other's nerves like that, because all it is, you're trying to give me some coffee I don't like. You're trying to fix my coffee the way you want to fix my coffee. And it's the same. See, if you understood that concept and that principle, it's the same way with Christ. You don't get to come to Christ and tell him how to run his kingdom and how what he likes in his kingdom. He wants people that will come to him and find out what he wants, because he already knows how he likes his coffee. He already knows what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. But we come in there and try to hand him stuff, mediocre stuff he didn't ask for, and say, this is what you want. No, he doesn't. He knows what he wants. So one of the things that we were looking at, and she gave me actually the whole copy. I have it here on the screen. My wife made glimpse on there. And we left off on some of that, the impact of low self-esteem last time we talked. How people will joke about themselves negatively, and they'll say stuff, and sometimes they're saying it as a joke, but really that's pretty much how they feel about themselves. It says low self-esteem right here can have an impact on many aspects of a person's life. It can affect a person's performance at work or at school. They may consistently achieve less than they are able because they believe they are less capable than others. They cover up their lack. They believe they need to make up for or cover up their lack of skills. People with low self-esteem might find it hard to believe any good results they get are due to their own abilities or positive qualities. In their personal relationships, we were talking about this last week, they might become upset or distressed by, man, don't criticize them. Mm-hmm. They will get bent out of shape when you criticize them or disapprove of what they just done.
Yes.
It just drives them nuts. In other words, people always looking for folks to agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Always looking for people to agree with you. No. Mm-hmm. I told a man one time, I don't agree with everything that come out of my mouth. He had to laugh. He had to laugh. I disapprove of things God says, and I disapprove things I might say because I've discovered what's right. People with low self-esteem, they bend over backwards to please others. Some of them are extremely shy and self-conscious. They even avoid or withdraw from intimacy or social contact. And that's huge because you need intimacy. And remember, when we say intimacy in America, one word comes to mind, sex. But you need intimacy, social contact. Where is that at? I think it... No, I think it's coming to... Go bring it up a little bit. Let me see. I'm reading it here. So, in their personal relationships. That's
right here.
Yeah, right here. In personal relationship, people with low self-esteem might become upset or distressed by any criticism or disapproval, bend over backwards to please others, be extremely shy or self-conscious, or even avoid or withdraw from intimacy or social contact, which is what we need. People need a hug. Mm-hmm. People need social conversation. But people with low self-esteem, they want to avoid trying to get away from that stuff. And you're getting away from the very stuff that you might need. They might be less likely to stand up. Yeah, we covered this last week. They won't stand up for themselves. Always wanting others to stand up for you. You got to get to the point where you stand up for yourself. Protect yourself from being bullied. The reason why people are being bullied, and I remember this was happening to me when I was in high school, because I'm telling you, didn't I tell you I had low self-esteem? Now I see why I was bullied all the time. And I didn't want to stand up and, and protect myself.
That's right.
I was criticized a lot, abused by their parents or family member. Mm-hmm. And parents, does that say partners or family members? Mm-hmm. They might be less likely to stand up for themselves or protect themselves from being bullied, criticized, or abused by their partners or family members. Now, if you read that, what's the opposite of that? That's right. Mm-hmm. See, the opposite of that is you will stand up to your partner. Mm-hmm. You will stand up to your spouse. Mm-hmm. You will stand up to your family member. You will stand up to people who are bullying you. Mm-hmm. That's just the opposite of what people do.
Yes.
You won't allow people to criticize you, to bully you, no matter who they are. And I think if we get it right in the family first, because they're the ones that do this to us first.
Yes.
Your mama just drive me crazy. Let her know. No, you don't get to criticize me. Try it with me. You let me go home. Tell them to try it on me. But I had to develop an attitude where I would say, if you didn't say it to me, then you didn't say it. Mm-hmm. Because I went from letting people bully me and criticize me, and I wouldn't say. See, I don't deal with secondhand information.
That's right.
So I don't deal with secondhand information. Because if you criticize me in my face, you going at it. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. We're going at it. Because I want to know where you get that from. Right. What did you derive at that? Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell that you don't. When you say you don't take a topic when you teach, My question, do you understand what I just said? So if you understood what I just said, you don't need a topic. The Bible didn't have no topics to it. You understood? Maybe. Matthew. Yeah, Matthew. That's the topic. Criticize. Go ahead. I say it to my face. Don't say it behind my back so I can let you know that I have a reason for why I do what I do. One told me one time, you talk too fast. My answer to that was, you listen too slow. The opposite. You older than me. You listen too slow. No, you want me to say what? I ain't talking too fast. I'm just telling you stuff you don't want to hear. I asked you a question you can't answer. And I'm not running from you when I ask you that question. And I had to, that's why I say, if you say it behind my back, you do well. Because if you criticize me to my face, me and you, I got a couple questions about your criticism that I want to ask you. So people with low self-esteem might not engage in many leisure or recreational activities, as they might believe that I don't deserve any pleasure or fun. Wow. They might also avoid activities where they could be judged or evaluated in some way, such as competitive sports, dancing, art, craft classes, or participate. Because somebody got to say, that's not quite right. So in other words, you anything that you get involved with that you're going to be criticized, you avoid it, or you think that someone's going to judge what you just said or what you're doing. People with low self-esteem seem to avoid those things. They also personal care might be affected. People who do not value themselves might drink excessive amounts of alcohol or abuse drugs. They might not bother to dress neatly. Good Lord of mercy. Wear clean clothes, style their hair, buy new clothes. Yeah, my wife raising her hand. You have got, no one can care for you like you. You have got to know you have value. You have self-worth. There are I know some who go the opposite. They spend all of their money trying to show you or prove to you. Because, my wife and I knew one. She spent all her money buying clothes to put on fancy stuff so that she can make people have an image of her that she was all right. Until I read the scripture where Jesus said, take no thoughts about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat. Because life was not about food and about clothing. You mean, I think the question was, I'm not supposed to just spend all my money on clothes and fancy dressing? No, because that's not going to. See, self-esteem is not brought up or down because of how you dress, especially if you believe that. Right. Your self-worth is not based upon clothes or anything outward, because, think about it, it's saying self-worth. Then you would only be worth the amount of clothes that you have on, or the car that you're in, or the people. I hang around nothing but rich folk. It's coming from within. How do you value you? How much do you think you are worth? Why would God give you dominion and you're not worth nothing? That's not the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. I like this stuff. I really do. Personal care might be affected by people who have low. Again, why is that person drinking? Why are you drinking so excessively that it's putting weight on you? Alcohol and drugs. Why are you doing this stuff? There's something going on. On the other hand, they might try to hide. There you go. Their inadequacies by making sure every detail of their appearance is attended to, and not allow themselves to be seen by others unless they look absolutely perfect. See, I didn't even read But I went into that thinking it didn't cover that part. But it's covered. It'll swing both ways. Some people, they think they have to be. See, it's all tied to what you think your self-worth is. Yeah. And none of that is true. You won't get me to think. I love to dress nice, look nice, smell good, but I know that's not where my self-worth is tied to. And especially now. Oh, Lord, I don't want to go there sometimes, but it just bothers me the way I see people make people. I remember all my life in the ministry, you got to have a suit and a tie. And then it went to a white shirt and a white. It's like none of that make you know anything. None of that makes you valuable. It may be what that person wants. Well, it make you look like your business. And I didn't come to church. Have you ever noticed what we're supposed to be doing at church? No wonder we never get nothing done. Because if you got to deal with spirits and people nasty and all kinds of, you don't want nobody hugging you in your finest stuff. So you make rules that ain't got nothing to do with God and you helping people. Let's just go on and get there. Let's get that over with. Because sometimes I wake up and I don't know about you, but sometimes I wake up and I like to dress nice. Yeah. And sometimes I wake up and I want to dress casual. Yeah.
My jeans and shirt.
You mean tell me I don't understand me or how I like my coffee?
Yeah.
You mean I don't get to wake up on Sunday?
Yeah, but
that ain't control. I don't know what you mean to tell me when I woke up this morning, I needed you to tell me how I felt, what I wanted in my coffee. I needed you to tell me that I felt like dressing like a hobo or I felt like putting on sharp shoes. You mean to tell me I don't have that much sense? That's what you just told me. No, I want you to look a certain way. I don't want to look a certain way. I want to look the way how I felt when I woke up that morning. Yeah, but they might come on if they come half naked. You remember when Jesus met the man out in maybe you ought to leave the church and go out to the tomb. When Jesus met that man in the tomb, he wasn't half naked. And we said growing up, he was buck naked. He didn't have no stitches on. He had no clothing on. When Jesus finished with him, the next part of that scripture said he was clothed and in his right mind. That means prior to him meeting Jesus and Jesus casting out the spirits that were in him, he was naked and not in his right mind. So leave me alone. I know all the scriptures you know too. That's why you ought to study. So when they come at you with all that craziness, you know what they know. And it's all it is about control. The problems. Let's look at some of the problems. Not the problems, but the problem of low self-esteem. Low self-esteem can be part of a current problem. If you're experiencing clinical depression, low self-esteem can be a what? Byproduct. Like my daddy, we were studying in the South. They would get oil out of the ground. But some of the byproducts that came off of that oil, if it wasn't a lot of oil, you may get stuff you put in butane. So butane was a byproduct of the oil when they would burn. Yeah. So they did not only have to pay you for the oil that came up out of the ground. Now they got to pay you for all of the byproducts that comes off of the oil. So depression, you may be clinically depressed, and some of the byproducts from that depression is low self-esteem. You see that? Or byproduct of your depressed mood. Yes, it's a byproduct of your depressed mood, which means you don't take care of yourself. You won't dress. You could some of that other stuff that we were talking about prior to that. No personal care. You won't take a bath. Won't clean yourself up. Lord help us. All of that's coming from somewhere. Having a negative view of oneself is a symptom of depression. So is feeling very guilty and worthless almost all the time. Now, I discovered that I was going through some depression when I lost my mom in June of 1999. I don't know how it is now, but I was one of those. We grew up and you didn't. I was telling talking to the young man the other day about I didn't know I was depressed because you weren't supposed to. A man wasn't supposed to be sitting on no sofa or lying on no sofa telling another man about his problem. So we didn't go get no help, is what I'm trying to tell you. Here I am suffering depression, didn't know it was depression, and a question was asked or a statement was made that made me know I was depressed. It says you lose pleasure in all of the things you used to find pleasure in. Now, I was thinking about it. Even when I was pastoring 101, I know I love to teach. I know I love to study. I know I love church. But all of a sudden, when my mom died, I lost pleasure in all of it. I didn't care what was happening at the church. I didn't care what was happening to those people. But then it also discovered when I lost my uncle. Prior to that, my Uncle Clarence. Way back when in November of one year, he died right after Thanksgiving. And I lost pleasure in everything that I used to have pleasure in. That's when I realized I was going through depression. Look at the word, depressed. Where I used to enjoy Christmas. And I had gotten to the point where I would say something like, I hate Christmas. I hate this time of the year. And one day when I read that article, I don't know if someone was preaching, teaching, or read an article. All I know is I sit down and I said to myself, what was I like? This will help you if you want to know if you're depressed. What was I like before Mama died? Before Uncle Clarence died? What kind of, I start looking back into my life. Oh, wait a minute. Christmas was the best time of the year for me as a young man. It was the one time of the year that we got fireworks. You know you like something if you spend $800 on fireworks. That was us. Yeah. We started looking for old car tires. We started looking for stuff. And man, it was like the best time of the year. No matter how cold it was, we were going to be out there in that cold, chasing each other, throwing bottle rockets and illegal fireworks. Illegal is illegal because y'all said they were illegal. We didn't care. We wanted to find them and throw them at each other and shoot each other. And I remember how much fun and how much I enjoyed that. But when Uncle Clarence died, I spiraled into depression and I thought I hated Christmas. No, I was depressed. And my self-esteem plummeted. And all of these, they were just byproducts of the depression. So I was feeling guilty and worthless almost all of the time. I mean, I didn't even want to be alive. My wife can tell you, when my mom died, I would sit up she would wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I could only get operated on 4 hours of sleep for a solid year. 4 hours a night of sleep is all I could get. If I went to bed at 12, I slept at 4. If I went to bed at 10, I slept at 2. I could only get 4 hours of sleep, and I'd done that for a whole year and went to work and never missed a day's work. And there were days, and then I had to go pastor the church, and the church, they want to see you one more night, and they don't understand. You feel like you about to die. You don't even care if the sun don't rise the next morning. That's what gets me with religious people. They always want more. They never see where they ought to. What's going on with this person? Well, we don't know what you feel. It's called spirit, honey. You operating on a plane that's deeper than the world operating on. So that he has put in his body gifts to help us for each other. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Here are some of the symptoms of depression. You see him right there? Feeling consistently sad, down, depressed, or empty. If you're feeling that way, you're probably depressed. Reduced pleasure in activity. There you go. See right there? This is what I was saying to the young man in the class Wednesday night past. I didn't have this information. I didn't have nobody teaching me this stuff. So I didn't know what was going on. And this is what had happened to me. Reduced pleasure in activities previously enjoyed, or lack of interest in most things. That was me. previously, prior to my mom's death, prior to Uncle Clarence's death, I was enjoying those activities. And all of a sudden now, I didn't want to participate. I went to church and I would just sit on the floor. I would just sit. And then, let me tell you turn this to me. Let me tell you what the church world did to me. Because I was going. See, they didn't know I was depressed. So they said the devil is stealing him. Look at him. He used to dance and shout and clap his hand in church. Now he come to church and sit down and look all pious. Like. That's what was said about me. In other words, even though I was being made, even though I was learning, but I was so depressed, I would just go to church. And then I heard some say, why don't you just stay home if you're going to look like that? Look like you done ate sour lemon. All of this was happening to me while I'm dealing with the death of one of my best uncles to me at the time. I love them all, but he was very close to me. And I'm dealing with this. And the part that hurt me the most was I saw my grandfather and my grandmother lying on the sofa crying and questioning God and wondering, can God be real if he gonna take a 32-year-old? And God had been telling me stuff before he died. And when he died, all of a sudden I understood what he was saying to me, but it still didn't take the pain away. But I lost pleasure in activities that I had previously enjoyed. Increased or reduced appetite. I got to the point where I didn't even want to eat. I didn't want to eat. I did not want to eat. Some people, their appetite increase. If you see someone blowing up, gaining weight, you can kid yourself if you want to. They're probably depressed. They're probably dealing with depression. But all you looking at it, what they're not doing. Sleep difficulties, inability to sleep, sleeping more than usual. See, it can go, because we're all so differently, it can go either way. You can either can't wake up or can't sleep. Am I striking some cards? Wake up in the middle of the night and unable to return to sleep. Because once I look at my wife, I know now I'm dealing with some stuff. My wife can wake up, go to the restroom, come back and lay down in 2 minutes, gone to sleep again. I hate to wake up. My wife know at one point I stopped drinking water after about 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening because once I wake up, I couldn't go back to sleep. I don't know if my wife would mind if I share her special abilities. My wife has this ability that she can wash my back and feel the pain that I had. Now, you talking about bearing one another's burdens. Yeah. She will be honest with me. Last night she said, she washed my back. She said, you in pain. Yes, I was.
I washed it off and it won't go away.
It wouldn't go away. She could feel the pain in her arm because I was in pain. And we didn't talk about what was bothering me. But she just knows sometimes she'll talk to me, make me talk about it, and sometimes she'll wait on me to come around and talk about it. It's a very unusual gift. I don't know where she got that from, no more than God gave it to her. She can touch a shopping cart and go, this person that just like, the last person that had this shopping cart is hurting. I tell her, use that to God's glory. When people are hurting, you know they're in pain because you can feel it. Feeling tired and without energy, being fidgeting and restless or slowed down compared to your usual speed. How do you like your coffee? Do you know the real you? I hope we're going to get real in 2019. We done lied enough about ourselves and to ourselves. Let's just get real. Fidgeting. Or restless. Or the opposite of that, you slow down compared to your usual speed of doing things that is observed by others. Having difficulties concentrating or making decisions. Whenever I get depressed, that one is a no-brainer for me. Yeah. I can't make the decision, or I won't make the decision.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
Don't I do it? My wife is listening to you. That's a sign.
Yeah.
If we knew the signs and symptoms of what was going on, maybe we could help the person. Even if we could. Definitely. And you go to your job and they expect you to just behave. Now they expect you to behave in a good way. What's wrong with you today? You seem to not be able to concentrate. But wait till their time coming when they can't concentrate. I didn't sleep well last night. Make all kinds of excuses. Don't you know I know that you're not being honest with yourself? That you're probably not telling the truth? That you're probably depressed and you don't want nobody to know it? Mm-hmm. Having thoughts that might be better off dead or thinking about hurting yourself. I used to think that way. I don't let it get that far no more. But I tell you what, the pain can get real deep sometimes. Yeah. It can get very, very deep. Listen to this. If you have experienced 5 of these symptoms, how many is it total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you have experienced 5 of these symptoms, which include low mood or loss of pleasure or interest, and they are present on most days for the past 2 weeks or more, then it is possible that you are clinically what? Depressed. Mm-hmm. Seek some help. Don't go to the church because they're going to judge you, most of them. Get you some help. Church should be able to help you get through these, but most of them are so religious that they're so busy judging what you're doing rather than why you're doing it.
Why you doing it?
They don't know. Oh, you can say what you want. This is good stuff to learn. Because we don't know. I want to just look up the word depressed right quick. Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can find it. I think I've looked it up once. I'm going to look it up in the kids. Depressed. Mm-hmm. Let's look it up. To press down. To cause to sink to a lower position. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To lessen the activity or strength of. Mm-hmm. To decrease the market value or marketability of. That's what depressed. Let's see if let's see what the kids.
Your favorite.
My favorite.
Show it again.
Let's see. D-E-P-R-E-S-S. Depressed. Well, it's got the ED. Sad and unhappy with life. That's all it says about it. Depressed.
That's the kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom.
You're sad.
That's the bottom.
Feeling sad. Unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been depressed lately? Have you experienced any of these symptoms described above? If so, you need to write that stuff down. I wish if you saw those on there when we were reading, let's just hold that on there for a second. Mm-hmm. Those 5, feeling consistently sad, down, depressed. If you experience at least 5 of these, it says 5 of these symptoms. And remember, everything has symptoms to let you know where the root cause. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? Runny nose, itchy eyes, sore throat. It's a symptom that even a fever is not the original cause. A fever is a symptom that something is going on. And when you discover the root cause of what's happening, that's where you can get the deliverance. That's where you can deal with, and in some things, they say, like a cold, you just got to ride it out. Yep. Some things, there may be a deliverance to. Mm-hmm. Once we discovered what it is, that's the root of it. When I discovered the root of mine, I began to work on it. I thought I was gonna finish this, but I'm not gonna rush through this. I'm just not. This is too important.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
this is too important to rush through.
Yes, sir. Take your
I
time.
really want you to see, feeling consistently sad. Look at that. I mean, look at those things. Reduce pleasure in activity previously enjoyed. Because remember, prior to that, we were talking about how we let our family. Remember how you let your family. You won't stand up to stuff. It could be stuff going on in your house, in your family, in the room, that you need to get people off your back. There it is right here. Don't change, honey. Just, they might also, this is people with low, in their having low self-esteem and in trying to develop personal relationship with people. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be disapproved of. They bend over backwards to try to please people because they feel like, and all of this stuff will create stress inside of you. And you don't need to pray to Jesus to get that off of you. You need to stand up. And I know it's tough. You know why I know it's tough? Because I had to learn to say stuff to people. Because most of the time you be thinking, if I say it, they ain't going to give me what they have for me. That's why we need to really trust God for stuff. I mean, that strikes a nerve right there. If we knew that our Father, most of the time, we've had such a bad relationship with our earthly father that we think our heavenly Father is going to treat us the same way. But with our heavenly Father, we need to get that relationship right with him and learn how to trust him. I'm being honest. I have to tell him I don't trust you in certain areas because it leads me to people and make me take stuff and take things that I shouldn't be taking. And the moment I learn how to trust him, I have to bring my mindset up, start thinking like a king versus thinking like somebody that old, ghetto thinking we call it. Somebody owe me something. Well, they need to do that for me. No, they don't have to do nothing for you. But my Father who promised me things. I was lying on the bed thinking the other day when I was in Louisiana, the promises that he made to me. And I hold his foot, as them old folks say, to the fire. So I don't let people treat me any kind of way. I really went and looked up that word money the other day. Remember I told you, I said, when we was teaching that I was going, when the book said the love of money is the root of all evil, and there wasn't cash dollars, but there was silver and gold. And the whole essence of it was become greedy after wealth. Oh my God. Let's just look at this thing. God don't want his children becoming greedy after wealth because he said it'll entangle you into a lot of stuff. And if we could ever relax and learn that when we need stuff, he is going to come through for you. He is going to give you what you need, not necessarily what you want, because he wants you to become a better manager. If you focus on becoming a better manager, he can give you more to manage with. These is where my mindset, where I'm trying to go and get. And it's totally opposite from what the world is doing and what the world is saying.
Hallelujah.
And I don't need to hear, well, I know lots of millionaires that ain't happy. I don't need to hear that because that ain't going to solve my problem. I'm talking about where I'm trying to get in that heavenly culture, in that heavenly environment, that heavenly mindset on earth. Not when I get to heaven, because I don't need it when I get to heaven. I'm talking about here on earth where I know he is going to come through for me. And I'm seeing it over and over and over and over. But still, I don't trust him in certain areas. So I won't let you abuse me, mom, dad, sister, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, cousin-in-law, uncle-in-law. I won't let you abuse me because I know if you won't do it for me, he'll come through for me. So you don't get to talk to me any kind of way. You don't get to abuse me. I'm not going to let you abuse me. I'm not going to let you talk to me about my family, about my children, about my friends. You just don't get to do it. And I might not be your man. I'm cool with that too. Because people want to be able to do that and get away with it. We wouldn't have a racism problem if you know your uncle was saying stuff and you turn, Uncle, you shouldn't say that. And then when you said to me, hey, I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. I mean, I've had some stuff said to me as an employee working at both here in Louisiana and here out in California. And I be wanting to go there. Well, excuse me. See, excuse me. I don't consider myself what you just said. For as I'm concerned, you won. But I didn't call you one because I need this job. You don't want to know what I was thinking when you were saying what you just said. We're gonna stop right there and say thank you for joining us. Join us next Sunday. My wife will be teaching the relationship information again, and I appreciate her giving me a break. And I hope this helped you today. We'll come back and go back into this self-esteem issue a little bit more. And if you recognize 5 of those symptoms, and if you can't get anywhere with EAP on your job, call somebody, call something, because you could be suffering from depression. It's in my family, it's real, and it's no joke. Thank you. Have a great Sunday.